Hello, and welcome to the Project Good podcast. I'm your host, Annmarie Hylton. Project Good is a social impact podcast interviewing experts and advocates about the pressing problems that we face globally and hearing how they suggest we move forward in the future. The Project Good podcast is brought to you by Project Good Work. The goal of this podcast is to inspire people and organizations to develop a mindset that can move others to positive action regarding the complex social issues facing people and the planet. For April, we have a special flash episode on saving the ocean featuring Ledama Masidza. Ocean conservation is crucial for maintaining the health of the planet and the well-being of all life forms, including humans. The oceans play a vital role in regulating the Earth's climate, supporting biodiversity, and providing resources. Ocean conservation is vital for maintaining the health of the planet. The oceans provide essential ecological, economic, and social services. Protecting them ensures the future generations can continue to rely on the ocean for food, livelihoods, and climate regulation. By addressing the threats to our oceans, such as pollution, overfishing, and climate change, we help safeguard the planet and its resources for future generations. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Ledama Masidza, an emerging young Kenyan leader in marine conservation and community empowerment. Fueled by an unwavering love for the ocean, advocating for sustainability, Ledama drives transformative initiatives that champion community-led conservation and sustainable policies. His compelling stories and initiatives resonate globally, capturing hearts while bolstering coastal communities and revitalizing marine ecosystems. Let's get into the interview. Marine conservationist, indigenous food systems advocate, and passionate storyteller, CNN Academy participant, Sheba Hope Grows ambassador, African Food Fellowship member, Ledama Masidza is what you would call an Earth superhero, bringing attention, education, and action to critical ecosystems. As a global changemaker, he combines his passions for marine conservation, filmmaking, and community empowerment to change lives. Welcome, Ledama.
Thank you so much. And so glad to be in a space which is really providing the opportunity for voices from different corners of the world to share the impact they're making.
Yes, thank you for taking your time and spending your evening with us. I always like to ask a question before we jump into the interview to kind of understand how someone thinks and their heart. And in this case, I decided to do kind of a fun question because I think you get to do something that is a little bit fun. So what is your favorite fish and why?
Oh, what a brilliant question. So my favorite fish, I think, is the Picasso triggerfish. First of all, the beautiful colors on it and its persona. So anytime you're swimming around a Picasso triggerfish, especially if it's during mating season, they are very interactive, a little bit aggressive, and they like to feel a little bit like the boss. So you can be swimming around a place where they will come, they will charge at you, and right before they get to you, they'll stop and they'll do a little bit of a dance and a wiggle. And another thing that makes them so dynamic is they take little bites or chunks out of the sand or coral and they gush it out of some of their gills. And it really is quite a beautiful thing to behold, like how something which lives in the water can still have such a confident, strong personality. It may not know who you are, but it's like, what are you doing in my space? I'm gonna come and check you out. And once again, such a beautiful fish.
I like that. I like that. They come up and exert their power, and then they're like, okay, well, maybe not fully. I'm just teasing.
But,
How cute.
but also like there's one time where I didn't know I was in, Picasso triggerfish territory. So I'm just snorkeling along. Then I feel a bump next to my bum. And I look to the side and there's one which actually is just nudging me. And I'm like, wait, okay, I'm no longer in a comfortable area. I'm in someone's home. Let me show some respect and let me swim on by.
That's cute. Um, I love that, and it's I think you get to have such a fun job because you get to interact with nature continuously. I personally, I would hope. I guess it kind of just comes natural. I would hope that everybody likes nature to some extent. And I am definitely a lover of all different types of animals. Has always been something that I've leaned towards. So always been a very serious advocate for National Geographic and all their explorations and things that they do. So this is so exciting to get to talk to someone who gets to work on making it better for both the animals and humans at the same time. So in all the work you do, and you touch on so many different things, and you are connected with so many different people, I guess let's start with why I guess you decided to get involved in this this type of area in your life. Like, what drew you to do this type of work?
Mm-hmm. And just to start, what drew me to do, or what draws me to do this kind of work? Because it's an everyday thing. It never ends. And I would say it's also a very big part of my life because that's where it started. Growing up in Kenya, nature is so key. It's so core. Economically, tourism is one of the biggest bringers of income to the country. But apart from that, on a personal connection, when you connect with nature and you see it in many different forms, it changes you. You learn so many lessons. And growing up, me and my brother, whenever we'd visit my grandma on her farm, which is close to the Masai Mara, which is a beautiful conservancy with wildlife. At the start of the day, we'd pack our water, put some sandwiches in a bag, and just go and explore. And during that day, we don't know what we'll encounter. We don't know what will come out. We just go and explore, climbing different trees, going to the river. And in all of these different interactions, there's certain moments where you either spot a snake or another animal on the other side of the river, or you hear about a leopard somewhere, and just seeing them interact in nature fully free is something that is so inspiring. And yeah, just growing up, continuing to stay connected to that, doing geography in school, biology, I loved it. Not only understanding why do these animals do what they do, but now linking it to why are they and what's their role in the ecosystem that they are. Eventually in university, studying environmental sciences, geographical sciences, and then through watching documentaries. David Attenborough is one of the top people on my list that I want to meet one day.
That is a fantastic experience as a child that you had. A lot of children always, in their imagination, pretend that they're going on adventures, but you literally got to experience adventures without the pretend.
Yeah.
So, so what a lovely childhood to get to remember that. So. In, I guess, kind of transitioning into making our audience kind of understand the importance of the ocean and conserving it. I think most people, and I think it's a mix because of its, mass campaigning and, what people first think of is that everybody's always thinking about the Amazon, like we have to save the Amazon. And I'm not saying that, that it, of course, it's important. Everybody's, always like, oh, now, like, don't cut down the trees and, all the things. But one of the things I think that people don't maybe always understand clearly is that the ocean actually is our biggest forest. So I guess my first question is explain, I guess, why it's crucial for us to be concerned about protecting the oceans.
Mhm. The oceans are the lifeblood of our planet. They support an intricate web of marine biodiversity, number of species which we haven't even discovered yet. And a lot of these dynamics sustain both life beneath the waves and beyond. And this blue thing covers 70% of the Earth's surface and provides vast, dynamic habitats where millions of different species live, from microscopic phytoplankton to the colossal blue whale, the actual one of the biggest animals on our planet. And for something which does that at a microscopic level to such a huge level, it must be a delicate balance. It must be a beautiful design. And it's not a uniform body of water, but a vast mosaic of diverse ecosystems which hold a range of these animals at these different levels. And each of these ecosystems within the ocean uniquely suited to different forms of life, from coral reefs, which can be called the rainforests of the sea, which house more than 25% of all marine species. And you've got your mangroves, your seagrass beds, which serve as nurseries for fish, providing shelter and food for juvenile species. And also, marine biodiversity is sustained through many complex cycles, energy cycles. And it's through this that this delicate dance of the ocean plays into each other and also plays into us. The ocean acts as Earth's lungs, let's put it like that, because it produces over 50% of the oxygen we breathe. But in a time like this, where climate change is facing us right in the eye, the ocean also absorbs massive amounts of carbon dioxide. And it really is one of our biggest lines of defense against this challenge we're currently facing. And with that, it distributes heat around the globe, regulates weather patterns, and also it's crucial to protect the ocean, because when one species declines, it affects the ripple. The ripple goes throughout the entire ecosystem. So when overfishing happens, when you have habitat destruction, pollution, this ripples not only in that one place where it starts, but it goes across the globe. And we all are linked to the ocean, each breath. And, more than 3 people rely on the ocean for food, while fisheries and, marine tourism and the jobs around it are way more than we even think about it. So not only is it supporting the breaths that we take, but it's supporting how we put food on the table. It's supporting how we upkeep our livelihoods. But also, imagine a world where we don't get to discover all the remaining species that are there, because it's still one of the biggest frontiers. And there's so many solutions in the ocean, and it's so crucial to the Earth. It really is the Earth's lungs.
Yes. And so being that, because it covers everywhere. And I think a lot of times that people, it always surprised me when I had to explain to people that, yes, worry about the rainforest, but really, really, really be concerned about the ocean. Now, I guess what would you say is the primary threat that the oceans are facing today, that you're seeing that is the most prominent problem?
I think loss of coral reefs is up there, because coral reefs are a key cog in what makes the ocean such a superhero in our world. So with coral reefs sustaining the 25% of marine life, that's the starting point for a lot of what makes this beautiful machine work for us, but also for the beauty that we see, the dynamism that we see. So with the temperature in oceans increasing, coral reefs, which are very delicate, go at threat. And also with ocean acidification, it impacts them as well. Because when they're affected, so many other things start to be affected because it's connected. And then pollution and overfishing are huge. If you look at the number or the amount of bycatch, but also with the fishery industry being so massive, the collateral damage, I don't even think we can call it collateral damage anymore, because it is very, very impactful for populations, for these key symbiotic relationships, which are beautiful, but also now going to affect many other components all the way up to the coast, all the way up to our tummies, all the way up to our lungs. And yes, I would say climate change is the biggest thing, but breaking it down, overfishing, pollution, and ocean temperature increase. I know you asked me for one. I've given three, but all those
No.
three are connected. They're connected.
No, yeah, they are, everything is so intricately intertwined. And so one of the biggest things too, I guess, is, humans tend to have obviously the most impact on all these social problems and, environmental problems that we're having. How would you, or what are some of the things that you have found that have been, or do you think are successful in teaching people about, I guess, combating overfishing? Like what has been, I guess, the most effective to start to bring that to light to people?
Mm. The ocean is still a bit of a black box to many people in the world, and we can only manage what we know. So one of the most effective things I've seen is stories, because it informs people, because the ocean is vast. And once you reach the shore, as far as you can look out, you still don't know what's happening out there. So being able to provide avenues of stories, information, and what's going on out there in the ocean is crucial, because it gives people information on what is the current status of this. This is actually so important to my life. This is actually so dynamic and beautiful and links to a lot of our economies, a lot of our livelihoods. So information is key. How can we get the more masses? How can we get schools, programs to be able to be avenues which bring people closer to the ocean, underneath the waves?
Yes. And so one of the things too for communities, and, you're working with a lot of communities where the ocean is their, I would say, livelihood. And so I guess, how do you, I guess I would love to hear, I know you have like a number of projects. And so I don't know if you can, or I don't know if it's even fair. Maybe I shouldn't call it favorite. Maybe I should say your latest, so that way nobody feels that they're left out. um, so that might be the wiser way to go, I guess. Or if you do have a favorite, you can keep that secret so nobody knows. But I guess what project do you feel that has made the greatest impact in communities that have their livelihood that is fairly dependent on the ocean?
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot of it here.
I know you don't have to say like your favorite. You can maybe pick the latest one so nobody thinks they're like, oh, now he thinks they're better, huh? Yes.
I'm gonna give two revolutionary examples, starting with Hope Reef, which is done by Sheba Hope Grows. Beautiful initiative. And with the Mars restoration approach, which is, they use something called reef stars. So reef stars are these structures which are covered with ocean-friendly abrasive coating, and we then tie juvenile corals onto them and let it grow. And with these reef stars, you link one reef star to another, and slowly you build like a whole coral reef. And what Sheva Hope Grows did in Indonesia is they created a reef which spells out hope. And this reef, you can actually see it from space. It's, it's that extensive. And within that, what was beautiful is how they included the community in Indonesia and how it's driven by the community now. And it just grows and grows and grows and grows, because when it comes to corals grow very slowly. Corals really do take their time. And for something which is so important to our lives, it makes sense. So to do something at that scale for something which is delicate, sensitive, takes time, very, very impressive. And when it comes to now shifting to the coast of Kenya, in the beautiful coast of Kilifi, a place called Kuruwitu. Now, Oceans Alive, what Oceans Alive have done is building on one of the longest standing community-led marine protected areas in Kuruwitu, which started as a 30-hectare protected area where the community themselves set up, identified the area, saying, we've seen a decline in our fishery, it's affecting our lives, but also my grandfather used to tell me of what he used to see when he went fishing. I don't see that these days. Let us take this action. And from that 30-hectare community-led marine protected area, which was set up in 2003, in 2022, it was upscaled to a 12,000-hectare co-management area. And the revolutionary aspect in this is when it first started as a 30-hectare community protected area, there was no legal framework for its protection. But now with this 12,000 hectare co-management area, it's being acknowledged by the government. It's being signed off by the state actors. And there is a plan. So it's no longer just the community, but the community has mobilized other private stakeholders, government stakeholders, to see that this area is not only sustained in a way which is in touch with the context of the community and their livelihoods, but can be an example, because this is one of the first ever that was done in Kenya, also giving the stewardship rights of this marine area to the community. And this is a model which hadn't really been implemented before. So to see this come to life and to do the many meetings under be it trees by the coast or the different community members, going to visit the government stakeholders and tell them about these things, it really was beautiful. But now to see that the decision-making rights are in the hands of the community over this 12,000 hectare space, that's revolutionary. And if you look now, so many more partners are coming into that project from around the world to support it. And this is becoming an example of not only community-led natural resource management, but coral restoration, how plastic is managed with their Trash for Cash initiative led by the women groups in the area, the education initiatives which bring kids to break the barrier between them and the ocean. And in fact, with the education initiatives, that was one of the first ever projects I did in my marine conservation career. And within the period of the lessons, as the lessons come, seeing these bright young minds start to pick up an interest. And it's like, wait, I can also be a marine conservationist. I can be a researcher. I can be a storyteller about the ocean. Let me go tell my parents to come to the next beach cleanup. It's felt. And I know that this will go beyond me. I know this will happen and continue to snowball way beyond the impact point. And for me, that's very special. Seeing that come to life, using it as a model all the way across the Kenyan coast, but also inspiring the next generation with security of the area, because you're not sure what's going to happen the next day. Regulations might change, laws may change. Someone can come in and say, we're going to trawl all over this area. We're going to do mining, but with that legal backing, with that legal sign off, it now protects that area for the foreseeable future.
Wow, that is a remarkable story because it involves not only so many pieces, but it really shows um, the ability to bring people together to form community on something, that they obviously needed from an economic standpoint, but that it grew even so much more that they I guess you could say, learn to have an appreciation and love for the ocean besides what it was providing economically, which of course, will lead to making the whole project continue to be more sustainable. That and also the Sheba one. The Sheba one just shocked me because I was thinking being able to see from space. So that is. Those are two amazing projects that I would say, you are helping for the SDG 14 of life underwater, pushing that goal along strongly. So hats off to you for that.
Thanks a lot.
And so I guess in all of the things that you are currently involved in, I guess, are you, I guess, and you may not know quite yet, I guess, is your goal in your future to kind of touch like all coastlines? And what I mean by that is, going to different places like South America, perhaps going on, well, the ocean touches so many different places, I guess. Is that one of your things that you aspire to? Or I guess, where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, very much so. And this started as a dream. I'm a very big dreamer, very big dreamer. And I remember my young self after my first dive, slowly approaching the reef, all its colors, all the fish around it. It's different. It's like a new world. It's kind of like entering a new planet and just spending time there. And I'm like, I could really spend a whole day just underneath here observing. That was so beautiful. Then to find out that it looks the way it does, it looks as beautiful as it does because of the work that the community was putting in to protect it, that changed me forever. And I'm very privileged where my dreams were met with belief and confidence from partners, different organizations. And in 2021, I was able to take part in the Food System Game Changers Lab, which is a program led by the Rockefeller Foundation, EAT, IDEO, Meridian Institute. A number of brilliant organizations came together to set up this initiative for food systems. And my solution entering this was a fish bank, which is this community protected area, which becomes a nursery. The density of fish increases and it spills over into other areas. And being able to not only present my solution, but hear from all these other top experts in the world, from Prairie Food System Vision in Canada, Friend in Fiji, Mellybees Network in Brazil, I was starting to really understand that communities, dynamics everywhere, and change will look different based on the context. But here we are together discussing our challenges, similar challenges, different contexts, but we're here together. And from there, we stuck together with a group of people in the Food System Game Changers Lab, and we got to present at the UN Food System Summit in 2021 as a unified solution, a global solution, which touches on the local context. And that ended up being supported, and we're now able to do projects in Brazil, Fiji, Canada, Nigeria, Kenya at the local level. And that's when it clicked. I'm like, this dream is now a reality, but also understanding the reality that communities face. And this is not just a dream, but this is also a scary future for a lot of brilliant people who carry a lot of wise, in-depth knowledge about nature. And so this initiative, which is called the Local and Indigenous Food System Transformation Network, provided me and many other people with the opportunity to globalize local solutions. And that right there is the entry point of where I see this dream coming to life. And it is to touch coasts in all continents. And it may not be the full perimeter of every single continent, but where indigenous and local communities are doing their fight, are implementing their brilliant solutions and being able to not only give it the space to thrive, the support that is needed, but the sharing of these solutions, because you'll never know when another community may face that challenge. So we need to, having this platform where it can be shared is so powerful. And the goal is, once again, every continent supporting coastal communities in this to have such an impact in the story that I just mentioned to you with Oceans Alive or with Sheba Hope Grows.
Now, having the tools, I guess being able to pass the tools on from country to country and making it work. One of the things I was hearing in your discussion is understanding that each country obviously is facing maybe some unique challenges that are not happening in another country because of, I guess the region and, just knowing a little bit about climates and things like that, is that the oceans are going to be different in those countries. If you're near a warmer climate, you're going to have, maybe a different source of fish, or I don't know what fish spend all their time doing, but they, I know, react to what is going on around them. So each of the regions will have their unique challenges, but being able to come up with a system to face and confront those issues that arise, extremely important, and a wonderful project to be undertaking. Now, one of the things I wanted to, and I was trying to find a little bit more about this, but I'll let you kind of explain. What is your organization that you've founded called Kind Worlds Projects? I guess, why did you decide to create that organization, and what are the different things that you're doing?
I love to share about this because it starts with my grandmother. My grandmother was the pillar of her community, touching generations of people. And I actually believe she touched thousands of people. And despite resource limitations of not having even all the money in the world, she made the biggest difference. And at the core of that was kindness. Kindness is a fuel for a better world. And carrying that on, I've instilled that in everything I do. And when we're kind to nature and we're kind to people, every one of us, good things happen. We move in the right direction. So that is the core of Kind Worlds Project. And I actually run Kind World projects with my brother, and we support different organizations from governments, large NGOs, philanthropists, to develop locally contextual solutions together with communities. And this started with the one project up in the north of Kenya. And after leaving and moving on from where I first started in the coast with my marine conservation, seeing whether we could help nurture this in different communities was a big question mark, because every community is unique. They've got their own dynamics. But in developing this next project with a whole different community coming in new, but kindness from the start, and building the interactions, the connections, the relationship, it helped things thrive. It was the fertilizer for what has become a beautiful project. So Kind World projects builds community action. It drives community action and provides ecosystems for things to happen, change to happen. We don't do talk, we do action. So with the complex complex structure or some of the challenges that large organizations may face in working local, we seek to break that barrier. We seek to hold your hand, bring you closer, and say, this is the community. This is where and how we should be able to go about it, and let us open up our ears and listen to each other and walk the path forward, because nothing is the same in different areas. So it's really providing that nurturing ecosystem for kind projects. Yeah.
I love that. And you've mentioned your grandmother a few times in our interview, and it seems to me, I guess, and I'm just picking up, was she your I guess inspiration as a child?
I didn't even know it, unfortunately, till she passed. But looking back, she's the core of a lot of the values that I have, and also being able to see things in action. Seeing is believing. And at a younger age, you see things happening. But as I grew older, I started to understand. And as I'm trying to understand, I'm like, wow, this all came from making things work in different situations where you do not have all the resources you need to make it happen. And that for me kind of encapsulates the mentality we should have in conservation work, sustainable work, food security work, education work, in this space where so many things are changing politically, economically. Us as ourselves, the thinking that we have, the perspectives that we carry, the kindness in our actions can end up being a catalyst for change. And so it's when I really understood how magical that was, how much of an achievement it was to touch that many lives, is when I'm like, this is something I need to take up. This is something I love to embody. And this is something I'm so privileged to have been instilled in me.
No, she sounds like she was a remarkable woman, and I don't know if she had the same love. I think because of where she lived, I would think that she had a similar love of nature. But yes, she sounds like she was a remarkable woman.
Yeah. And she had a beautiful farm. And she always left a bit aside just for nature. Even when elephants came trampling on different crops, or, monkeys, or the love continued for nature and people.
That's fantastic. It's nice that you have someone that you can always reference to that, has experienced life a little bit differently, but was able to show you, I guess I would say, resilience and the importance of looking at a community as not just people, but a whole planet that works together. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, I guess one of the other things, I just have a few more questions for you. I guess right now, you probably you've, I'm sure, encountered tons of different types of people, and of course, everybody has their different ways and opinions that they're looking at the planet. But one of the things I think that I have been reading about is there's, especially with young people, not necessarily people who are already, out of school and, you know, uh, I would say doing life. But there's this undercurrentness of a little bit of, I guess, hopelessness for younger generations that I've been reading about. And so I guess, how have you seen that what you have done, or I don't know, how have you seen that this has given, I guess, um, inspiration or hope to young people? Or have you, I guess, because you're over in Kenya, do you see that some of the younger generations that are in school kind of have this hopelessness kind of feeling about the future of the world and the planet? I guess I should start there. Do you have that same feeling that you've dealt with?
I would say that it's more of seeing challenges around you grow and changes happen. For example, with one of the seasons where the water may get too hot and it's meant to be a wonderful fishing season, but fish stocks are depleted, that is felt in the household level. And the kids see this, they experience it, whether through the food which is put on the table, whether it's actually being able to put on the table or not. School, health, nutrition, that's primarily how it's felt. But I believe, especially in Kenya, there could be so much more of an understanding of why this is happening environmentally. You're feeling the effects, we're seeing the effects at a household level, but environmentally, what you can correlate to, that is still not clear. And there's a lot of resilience. And in Kenya, there's so many bright young minds. So I believe helplessness and that feeling of being stuck, knowing that there is this doomsday coming and there's nothing you can do about it. I do not think that's there. There is a lot of energy. It's how can we inform these bright young minds with actually what are the causes and understanding the effects of these changes, but also providing tools, providing solutions, and fostering and nurturing game changers. So the energy is there. Kenya has such beautiful, brilliant, intelligent youth, but we need to feed them with a contextual information, understanding, and scenario of what's going on environmentally and how that feeds into their livelihoods. And one way where I've seen this really is the answer is we were able to do a project with Nat Geo and Disney Channel and an organization called Wildlife Direct, bringing environmental education to 50 schools, 2,500 kids in Kilifi County. And all the schools were different at different levels. Some, you may walk into a classroom and it's half functioning, but by presenting, whether it's through films, whether it's through materials, through books, coming in and facilitating sessions through games, sparks or it opens a door to, this is why this is happening. These are the dynamics that are going on. And then solutions now start to come. And I believe that's one of the biggest points of change which we need to invest in, which is the future. Because by the time they're the leaders of our country, and even at the global level, being able to make the right decisions, it takes being informed.
Yes, and that's good because I'm glad to hear that I guess it's just putting the education and tools in action, and that you see that there is a motivation there. Which is of course critical for as older folks, that the youth are going to be around to continue the process. So I'm glad to see that in Kenya you see that there is still a spark of light and drive to move forward in spite of all these crazy and catastrophic environmental events that are happening. And now for some fun questions, hopefully in closing. What would you say is your most favorite place to go diving, or I guess, or beach to hang out on, or if you don't have one that you've been to yet, a place that you are, have you put on your bucket list to go to?
Ooh, this is a long list. But my favorite place to go diving is by a shipwreck in a place called Vuma Cliff, along the coastline of Kenya, Kilifi. And what has happened around this shipwreck is it's become a metropolis for life. So many fish of different sizes, huge to small, even sometimes dolphins come around there, whale sharks. And there's a point where while you're around the shipwreck, you look up and you almost can't see the surface because that's how many fish there are just swimming above you. It's absolutely beautiful. Then when it comes to beaches, a lovely beach or marine area that I'd love to go to is Socotra, which is between Yemen and off the Horn of Africa, and one of the first pieces of land to break off from Pangaea. So it's got a lot of very unique wildlife, marine life. And for me, it's a dream to step on those beaches because it looks stunning. And then also Lakshadweep in India. So those are my two goals that I would love to go to one day. Socotra, not only to interact with the marine life, but also the coastal communities there, how they interact with the ocean, with an ocean which some of it is so pristine. What does that look like? Because a lot of my work is with coastal communities and communities where the environment is at risk, and the natural resources are very much at this decline or within a tension. But I would love to see it from that perspective, where here is a pristine reef, almost untouched in some areas. What does that look like for that community? And be able to interact, to learn, to hear, and just experience all the life, whether it's the manta rays, the turtles. That I would love to do one day.
It sounds beautiful. And it sounds like, as you were saying, a different planet. Sounds absolutely gorgeous. And then now my last question is, how can, people support you or get involved, or any, new directives that you have?
Mm-hmm. I would say follow our stories. So Kind Worlds on LinkedIn, ShebaHopeGrows.com, Ocean Culture Life. There's some wonderful ocean storytellers out there. And remember, the first point is knowing. Get out there, know, learn, allow yourself to be inspired. So by just being able to keep updated with some of these beautiful stories, updates that are coming through these pages, and if you see anything you like or anything you'd want to visit one day, get in touch. Because at the end of the day, if we really want to overcome and walk the distance of this mountain called climate change and how it's affecting our world, we need to do it together. And if you want to walk far, walk together. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. But at this rate, we can't walk as fast as the change that climate change is, impacting our world. So really, let's create community around environment. Let's share. Let's be in touch. Let's educate one another. But also where it can be possible, let's stand together and advocate for why it's important to protect our oceans. This is the lifeblood of our planet. And we really have to stand up together. We don't have too much time, but we have the potential. The solutions are out there. And each day I'm inspired. Each day I seek to share these messages and these stories with the wider world.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ledama, for your time and insight. To learn more about Ledama Masidza, go to shivahopesgrows.com or kindworldprojects.org. If you have a passion for an unserved community, a social justice problem, or want to change minds, contact Project Good Work at projectgood.work to start your project of change today. Subscribe to our mailing list at projectgood.work/subscribe to get our episodes and blog articles sent to you each month. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Project Good, where we're focused on what matters.